Reflecting back with ease and effectiveness. Here are a few key points. So as you can see in the picture, reflecting back is a bit like holding a mirror for someone so they can see themselves better. So when you're reflecting back, you're like the person who's holding the mirror. What you do and what you say and your presence. The purpose of this is to allow the person who's speaking to see what they're saying and hear what they're saying and to see their predicament or see themselves a little bit clearer. So you aren't interpreting the situation for them. You're not giving your opinion. But these habits of opinion giving and interpretation are really hard to change. And so if you're new to NVC, reflecting back might feel stressful or clunky. And you need a bit of practice to get your own way of doing it. And here's a bit of practice. So key skills are less is more, saying less. If you're speaking for longer than the other person is speaking, then you're definitely adding something. Start at the end of what they say, particularly if you're a bit stuck. Listen for strong emotions, listen for feelings and needs, and listen for the essence of what someone is saying. So after someone has spoken, possibly the most helpful thing to do is just breathe and pause. Don't rush into reflecting back. Allow a little bit of spaciousness around what they've just said to land, because they've just been speaking. So they might need a little moment of silence, and this is going to benefit everyone. Also, one thing that people can do when they start reflecting back is to start reflecting back everything in chronological order. First you said this, then you said that, and then you said something else. And the metaphor I like to give here, and forgive the cultural metaphor or coming from growing up in the UK in the 70s and 80s when I used to watch the Generation Game. Where there was a game in which the things went past on a conveyor belt, and if you named them, you got to keep them. So there's the teddy bear, there's the coffee maker, there's the Hoover. So it's not like the Generation Game. Don't try to reflect things back in chronological order. It's not going to land, and it just kind of goes over people's heads. So it doesn't connect. And related to that, start at the end. Start with the last thing that they said, because normally people take a few minutes to get to the point of what they're wanting to express. So you can choose to reflect back the last things they say. And that's particularly helpful if you're not clear on what the needs are. You could just start at the end. Listen for strong emotions. So if there's any anger or extreme frustration or annoyance or despair or desperation or sadness in what they say, name that, whether or not the person has named it themselves. It's normally a service to name the strong emotions. And you can also listen for more feelings and needs. So are you feeling exhausted or overwhelmed? Or are you needing inspiration and play? Don't be afraid that guessing a feeling or a need sounds simplistic. It is simple, but kind of beautifully simple and straightforward. And it's also connected to the less is more. And it's a structure and a boundary, and it stops us interpreting and keep putting our own stuff into it when we're really simply guessing a feeling or a need. And then listen for the essence of what someone is saying. So it's often helpful to take a breath before this one. So because you're actually trying to step back and see the bigger picture. And you can use sentence starters such as, I think I'm hearing, deep need for change. Or I think I'm hearing absolute overwhelm with what's happening at work. So in those reflections, there was a need and there was a feeling as well, strong emotion. So that's kind of the essence of that. I'm hearing you talk about, it's quite good if you're kind of not quite sure of the need. You could reflect back a bit of content there. And then this one, is quite nice. What stands out to me is, now this might be your response to what someone is saying. So be wary of that, to not start then going into your interpretation or what you think about it. You could easily start talking about yourself. But it could be like, what stands out to me is when you talked about the need to respond to your boss. You know, it could be that. There could be the essence. You're still reflecting back, but it's, if you cast your mind over, your memory over all that was said, what is standing out to me, and go there. So this would be different to going to the last thing that was said, but it's like, if I can tune into all of it, it's like, what is sort of leaping out to me? You could go there. So when someone speaks, and this could be, these questions you could hold with you in the listening hour or other empathy swaps that you might do. What's the clearest need? These are questions that you could hold in you. What's the clearest need that you heard? If in doubt, go to a need, go to a needs guess. Or what's the last important thing that you heard? And I will often use that one if I don't know what the clearest need is yet. Or if there was a lot of mixed things in what someone said, and I would go to the last thing as a bit of an organizing principle. Or what's the strongest emotion you heard? Or what other feelings did you hear? What other needs did you hear? Or what is the essence of what you heard, or what stood out for you? The last slide we looked at. So you could practice using these, and you could practice using just one of these and just see where that takes you. Maybe in an empathy swap, you could just try to listen just for the needs, or just try listen to what stood out for you. So which of those will you choose to reflect back? If you have a bit of practice of trying to reflect back just one of those, that will give you practice and confidence of, yeah, in this situation, I think it's helpful just to go for the need. In this situation, it's helpful to go for the strongest emotion. Or in this situation, it's helpful to cast my mind over everything and name what stood out for me. Because you can't reflect back everything. So you need to choose, you need to prioritize, and it's going to be different in different situations. Sometimes the most important thing isn't the last thing that was said, it's something in the middle. So there obviously isn't a one size fits all. There isn't always a right answer, and you're going to need one of these questions to help you structure your reflecting back. I hope that's helpful for you, and see you in the listening hour. Bye for now.